a goalless draw with China and a fighting defeat against Jordan. Now that's not what you expect from an Indian football team who's going into the AFC Asian Cup in 2019. Hi, I'm Rohith, this is Adi, this is Aravind, and we're going to discuss what Stephen Constantine needs to get right before the AFC Asian Cup. While the result against China may have been creditable, the result against Jordan was not exactly expected. Jordan are actually ranked lower than India, but it was a result that was there's more cause and effect there rather than actual tactical issues. So the main reason for India's poor performance was because they couldn't pick a proper starting lineup. Of course, Sunil Chhetri was missing, but so were many other players who didn't even reach the venue until a few hours before the game. So Aravind, what exactly happened there?
So the All India Football Federation (AIFF), instead of booking one single plane for all the players, they booked them into two different planes. So one plane had 7 players of the squad. They were mainly the strikers and the wingers. The other plane had the rest of the 15 players, goalkeeper, and the other plane also had the coach. So the plane with the forward line, it got stuck in Kuwait because of floods in the Middle East. So they had to wait in the Kuwait airport for more than 32 hours before they could get onto a flight to Jordan. And they finally reached Amman only on Friday night, like one day before the game. So they weren't able to recover themselves for the match. And moreover, their kids, their baggage was missing. Their baggages arrived only on the day of the match. So the players complained that we cannot play this way, but the All India Football Federation were forced to play this friendly because Jordan had promised that the match ticket sales, whatever money is generated from the match ticket sales, would go towards flood relief program. So India played without proper striker in the match. They played a midfielder who is Anirudh Thapa as their forward, and it didn't work out. Without the main striker Sunil Chhetri and without the second line of strikers, they didn't do well. So AIFF needs better planning for the 2019 Asian Cup. They cannot afford to send players in two different planes.
Yeah, so JJ wasn't there, Balwant wasn't there. It was pretty much a 4-6-0. I mean, that's vintage Vicente del Bosque in 2010 with Spain, but this is not the Spanish team we're talking about. And it was a very poor starting lineup, and you could see that they were struggling to even get forward and even trouble the Jordanian goalkeeper. So yeah, the planning is something that they really need to look into, and they had to play this game because there's only one friendly. We'll get to that later. Now, one thing that's been a problem with Indian football is they still stick to the long ball philosophy. Now, apparently Constantine said he doesn't ask his players to use long balls, but that seems to be the main their go-to tactic in most of their games. Now, the long ball tactic is useful when the opposition plays a high line or when you have a really physical striker up front. Did neither, and neither of those things going for them. And playing long balls to a player like Anirudh Thapa is obviously not feasible. So, Adi, why did they still persist with long balls?
You see, it's not just with Thapa that they play long balls. When JJ is there, when Chhetri is there, they play long balls. I mean, JJ and Chhetri are both very, very good in the air, but at the end of the day, they're still 5'7". So when you come up against West Asian opponents who are typically strong, bulky defenders, centre-backs, you're not going to get much joy playing that way. And it's also more puzzling because a lot of these players now play under Spanish managers in the ISL, where they are playing short passes, reasonably patient build-up play instead of just lumping the ball forward. I mean, Constantine can say all he wants that he doesn't ask his players to do that, but I mean, you don't need more evidence than what happens on the pitch to say that India still play long balls. I mean, if Constantine is that worried about the long ball, then the instruction should be never play it long, rather than I never asked them to play it long. I mean, everything about Constantine's a little iffy. It always has been, but this long ball, it's puzzling. And because India are a side which now have a lot of technically adept players, you don't have to play that way.
Yeah, so you could see in the second half when there were changes, you could see India trying to keep the ball, but that was also because Jordan had the lead. Yeah. And they were also sitting back and they were just waiting for something to happen rather than actually going forward themselves and attacking India more. And they were letting India take the initiative and then capitalize on any mistakes which they made. So India have a lot of things to work out before the AFC Asian Cup regarding how they get the ball forward and how they get into the box. One of India's problems, which we mentioned in the previous video, was that Stephen Constantine sticks to his core of players. He doesn't pick anyone else outside, say, this 25-man squad. He doesn't give chances to new players who deserve a call-up based on their recent form. So, Aravind, I'm going to talk to you. So, India obviously have problems with their defense and midfield. Now, let's start with the defense. So, who do you think should be replaced and who should be called in?
See, the previous match, Sandesh Jingan played as the central defender, and against Jordan, he was not there in the squad at all, in the match squad. So one of the main reasons why he's not there is because Stephen Constantine tried playing Anas Edathodika as the central defender. Anas has played only one game for Kerala Blasters this season, and he did not look good against Jordan.
Yeah, he looked rusty.
Yeah, there was a chance just before the half time when Baha Faisal could have made it 2-0 for Jordan, but that was Anas's mistake. He did not even bother marking Baha Faisal, but India got away with it. And that's the main problem, the central defender. They are trying to play Subhashish Bose, who's a left back, as a central defender. That is okay, but their fullbacks are also a problem. Pritam Kotal and Narayan Das, they're not enjoying the best of forms in the ISL, and they're forcing themselves to play in positions which they are not used to. So that is the problem in the defense. When you come to the midfield, Roland Borges, who's been exceptional for Northeast United, he was missing from the squad for the Jordan game, and you can say experimenting or all that you want, but it's 2 months before the AFC Asian Cup. You cannot afford to experiment anymore. You need to go with your core set of players and field them in whatever friendlies you're playing. The forward line is more or less settled. You have JJ and Sunil Chhetri up front, and Balwant could come on as a substitute. Balwant did not play both these friendlies because of various reasons. But there is one man who's always in the squad for no reason, and Sumit Pasi, I don't know why he's still there. He will be there for the Asian Cup also, so you cannot change some things about Constantine, but I hope he sticks to his core players.
So coming back to the fullbacks, we talk about Das and Kotal. They've been in the team for ages and they're still not exactly impressing enough to nail that spot. Who do you think is a capable replacement for them if Constantine decides, okay, let's bring on a new player?
So one guy made a debut in the match against Jordan and scored the goal. Nishikumar, he's a fullback. So he played more forward role in the game, but he can replace any of the two. The other is straightforward Subhashish Bose choice. So they still have one central defender to figure out before the Asian.
And the right back?
Yeah, what you have Subhashish Bose, and then you have either it's too late to call up Rahul Beke. He's been in good form for Bengaluru FC, but it's too late to call him up. But you have Jerry, you have many other fullbacks who are waiting in the line. They may not be in the same position, but apart from Pritam Kotal, who's the other right back in the Indian team? There is no one except for Rahul Beke at the moment.
Now, another concern for Indian football is they don't use the international break very well. Now, if you look at leagues around the world, players play 38 league games and then they play a lot of at least 10 to 12 international games in a year, and that is a year where there are no summer tournaments. The Indian team, the league players, they play about 18 league games and maybe 3-4 knockout ties, and then only about 5 friendlies in a year. That's pretty much half of how much another international player plays. So the Indian team in the last international break, they played only one game against China. This international break, only one game against Jordan, and the ISL is kicking off on Wednesday, while the rest of the leagues around the world are waiting till the weekend to kickstart their league campaigns again. So Adi, why is it that the Indian team is not playing enough international friendlies? Now, when you go into a tournament, the first thing you will look at is how you rotate your squad and how you play 3-4 games within the span of every 4-5 days. Now, if you're playing only one game in international break, how is that going to help?
It doesn't help, and I mean, as you said, there's no reason for the ISL to start on a Wednesday. Why can't they wait 2 days longer, start it on a Saturday or the Sunday? And another problem is that we celebrate the ability to schedule matches of football. Even before we played China or Jordan, we called it historic. Why? There is no reason why an Indian team can't play 2 friendlies. So take the example of Tim Cahill who's playing in the ISL. He's going to miss Jamshedpur's next game because Australia are playing a friendly. It is a farewell for him, but Australia are playing a friendly tomorrow, which is Tuesday. So when every country in the world is playing 2 2, 3, 4 games over this period of time. We're playing 2. Every other country is playing 3, 4 games in our group itself. You see UAE, they played 2 games last winter. They're playing 2 games this winter. Same with Bahrain. Thailand are playing the ASEAN tournament.
Yeah.
It's only India that play one friendly, and they celebrate it. They call it historic for absolutely no reason. Make weird news items out of losses. Call it inspiring for no reason at all. There is a basic flaw in this, that India don't play enough games. I mean, you can sympathize with Constantine on one level, that he doesn't get he's always moaning about not having enough time to train. The time to train is a completely different issue. He doesn't get enough time to put these players on a pitch in competitive internationals. And given this, can you really expect an Indian team to go to the UAE, take on teams like UAE, Bahrain, Thailand, and actually get results that would put them through to the next round, or at least give us a respectable outlook when we come back, even if we do get eliminated? So friendlies are, I don't know, man. These international breaks, it almost looks like, what it looks like now is this 10-day breaks in the ISL is almost like they're gifting the national team something.
Correct.
When it really should be that the leagues in every country it's focused on giving the national team a bunch of players, and not that the national team should tailor its needs around what the league wants.
Yeah, so back in 2011, India were the minnows, and since then, nothing has changed. So if they're going into the Asian Cup again as minnows, by now we should be at least a mid-level team in Asia, competing with other teams, at least, and going past the group stages. We're not sure that's going to happen now because of the way they performed and the way they're prepared for this tournament. And it remains to be seen whether the Indian football administration will take matters into their own hands and actually say, you need to play your full quota of internationals every year. The last thing Constantine needs to figure out is how to get along with all his players, especially senior players. Now, there were a lot of rumors about the senior players trying to get him out of the team and get a new coach in, but now it's too late for that, and the Asian Cup in less than 2 months, Constantine is here to stay, and his contract ends after the Asian Cup, so he's going to be the coach no matter what. And one problem is the player feuds. Now, he's picked different captains even with Chhetri in the squad, and he's picked at least 3-4 different captains in the past year. So what exactly does he have to do to get everyone on board with his philosophy and his
logic,
style of management?
His logic is that he's creating more leaders, but we all know that there is only one leader on the pitch when it comes to the playing style, which is Sunil Chhetri, and he has a big problem with Sunil Chhetri. He's not handed him the captaincy out of he has to forcefully hand the captaincy to Chhetri in the rise of rotation of captaincy. We've had Gurpreet captain the squad, a good captain, fine captain. Sandesh, he's also a fine captain. Arnab Mandal has captained the team before. Subrata Paul has captained the team before, while Chhetri has been there. Why make a player feel so insecure about his captain's armband? If it means so much to the player, just give it to him already. It's just an armband. Anyway, the team is going to play how he asks them to play. This captaincy will not matter unless he's trying to prove a point to the player that he's the boss at the end of the day. So the onus is on both of them to be professional and respect each other. And at the end of the day, they're playing for India, so the nation has to come first, the tricolour has to come first. So it's better that Constantine avoids such kind of thing and such kind of player feuds, and just focus on what needs to be done for the Asian Cup.
Well, that's about all we have for this episode. What we want to hear from you guys is who was the best player for India in both the games, so against China and against Jordan, and let us know in the comments. And that's all we have from this episode. This is Rohith, Adi and Aravind signing off. We'll be back next week after the ISL games.